Hey everyone, welcome to USCS School Class. I'm Grandmaster Magesh Panchanathan. Good to have you all. I guess someone already asked me what is the theme today. We will. I have some of my own games that I wanted to show in terms of converting minor advantages. So basically, you will have a good position, and you want to kind of see how to, take the next important steps. So let's go ahead and get started in a second. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. I see there is some interesting chat going on. Let's see. Someone apparently played Alexander Lenderman. Okay, that's nice. Yeah, I froze the screen to load the board. Okay. I am lagging a bit. Really? Does anyone else feel that? Is it? No. Okay. I'm at home, usual computer, so hopefully it's not a big deal. We are already talking about Kahoot. Well, we have done enough of that, guys. Come on. So let's go ahead and get started. I guess maybe I'll have to change the chat to just me so we can go ahead and get started. So, all right. We have a position. So basically, I'm going to go through some positions. And in fact, what I was thinking was I will give you a chance, only one chance to come to make a decision on these positions, on whatever positions we're going to go through, and try to see if you can actually get a good advantage, right? And most of the positions, as soon as you see it, you will know that you have a good position. So the theme and what exactly you're learning is that you will have a good position, what kind of precise steps you will take to make sure you make that good position into something that you can convert as a win, right? So converting into winning positions is what essentially we'll talk about. So let's start with this one. Just before we even do the calculation or anything, I think it's obvious to see that white is doing better. Can anyone tell me, just to start the discussion, why is white better? Some basic observations. Why is white doing good here? Ahead in development, very good. Better pieces, strong bishop on g2, very good. Dark squared bishop is slightly worse because of the e5 pawn. It's not really fixed, but yeah, I do agree that it's slightly worse. Bishop on c8 cannot move, right? d5 control, I'm not so sure. Again, d5 control possibly a small thing. Space advantage, I'm not so sure. I think black and white are controlling space reasonably equal here. I'm not sure white has space advantage, yeah? Austin, very good point. If black can play c6, mostly black is doing okay, yeah? Timothy, light squared bishop is very good. Nice. Both bishops on open diagonals. Austin's like, we need to strike while the iron is hot. Okay, okay. Well, the point is white has a slight initiative, yeah? You can tell that with the structure being so symmetrical, you usually don't have any major advantage other than, activity or some kind of initiative. That's the case in this situation as well. White is just slightly better ready. So this is the deal, right? So each one of you, of course, you're going to do private chat with me. You're going to think about, you can think about all the moves that you want to, but at some point you will have to make a move as if you're playing a game, right? So we can, and then what I'll do is, depending on how, I hope not everybody is going to type in a move like instantly. I want to reply back to your move, and I want to take this discussion 2-3 moves separately with each one of you. I know it's not easy for me in chat. I'm going to try to do as much as I can. But here's one more catch. When you type in your move, you also have to type in a move that you expect me to play. So keep this in mind. You're not just typing your move. You're going to type in a move that you think white should play, and what do you exactly expect me to play against, after that move, right? So take some time. Let's not rush into it. Obviously, white's position is nice. There are lots of good-looking moves, so I would definitely say you have to do some candidate moves to see what you like the most. And then at some point, we can start making the moves. Now, you can chat with me talking about candidate moves, talking about ideas, absolutely fine. But when you make a move, make sure you tell me that in chat. This is the finalized thing, and this is the move I'm playing. And until then, we can always talk about the moves. You don't have to go on any radio silence. I have some chat about some things, and if I feel like there is anything specific that I need to tell you, I'll try to reply back in chat as well. Okay, I'm getting some really nice candidate moves and variations. Very nice, very nice. Again, these are not final yet. I'm glad you're thinking in the right direction. Austin, it looks like you're trying to go through elimination. I don't know why. You don't need to do elimination. But we'll also set a timer going, so we'll keep track of how much time we're spending on this. Actually, the easier thing to do would be in the end, you will give me the best variation for white and black up to a certain point and evaluation. And if I find an alternative move for black, then I will type it in. Otherwise, we can just keep your own variations as the final. Austin, when you say you would play, are you saying that's the final move? I mean, final variation? Austin Tang has given me the final variation. Austin May, you have not. Lyndon, you have to give me more than that. I would like a small sequence. I mean, like I need you to show me some advantage. Everyone, right? Basically, you're in a good position, and I want you to show me something concrete. So Santosh, James, Lyndon, not Lyndon, sorry, Sefer. I would say one thing to consider is what we talked about very quickly. So the reason why I talked about the position first before I did ask you to start calculating moves is to make sure that you're all in sync with what needs to be done, right? Black's position is quite solid. The only problem is black is a little behind, right? Pawn structure is okay. Both sides have two bishops. Space is okay. No pawn weaknesses, no square weaknesses for black, right? So the only reason white's better is because white has some initiative in terms of development, file control, better pieces, better threats, to put it that way. So if you don't do something right now, you probably will lose your advantage. Okay, Raya has given me a big thing. Let me see. So Raya, is that your final answer? So that's a very interesting variation that you have, Austin May. The question is, would you want to go with it? I would say we're about 6-7 minutes into this. I'm definitely getting lots of good variations. So Raya, I think I read that variation that you already sent. You added something on top of it. Okay, Alice has given me something. Eric, something. All right, guys. So let's do maybe a couple of more minutes, and let's wrap it up with that. Unless, of course, if someone feels like you're onto something and you need more time and you don't have it figured out, then yes, we can definitely try that. Okay, Zoe, I think you have an interesting variation, but I think black would probably play a different idea. So let's. Okay, let's see, Sefer, what is your previous variation? Aradhya, I also think that move is a little bit slow, don't you think? You have to play something a little bit more, faster than that. All right. I think most of you have given me something. Let's see if someone has not given me. Like I said, I would like to hear something from all of you, okay? Who has not given me some moves? I think most of you. Angela, okay, go on, finish it. Let's try to come up with something. Crystal, I don't know if I heard from you. Jenny, I don't know if I heard from you. Sarvagna, Santosh. I was overestimating my chances to look through each of your variation and go around it, but looks like we cannot do all of that. But we'll try to group it a little bit. So last minute, if you need to send anything in. Okay, now, I think the main moves I've heard are knight to b5, queen to d8, bishop to a3, pawn to b4, And what else did I hear? I think I heard f4. There was e3 and queen c2 as well. There was also maybe knight d5. So I guess you got lots and lots of moves. But I'm going to do a little bit of elimination because I already explained this. Hopefully those who heard my explanation understood what I was talking about, right? Queen c2, non-forcing, right? It might be a decent move, but I'm not looking for that right now. E3 is non-forcing. I wouldn't look for that again. B4 again for the same token. I think it's an improving move. You're getting better space. Definitely not a bad idea in a normal situation. But here, I'm looking for more, right? So this is the key. When you reach a position, your intuition tells you that you want something here, right? And it's not, it's not really tactical. It's to say that you have check, check, and checkmate. But the thing is, you just feel like you could get something out of this position. And that's important, right? And what is that? You're going to discuss with me now to decide, right? Because all of your variations got something for you. Are you happy with that? Should you be looking for more? That's exactly what we'll talk about right now, right? Now, knight d5 and f4 also I'm not too keen because knight d5, one is simply I can take on d5 and then I'm not really threatening something. It looks like a forcing or it looks like more of an active move, but I don't think it creates an active threat. Black should be afraid of something after you make the move. And I would say only these three moves qualify for that, yeah? So there's bishop a3, there's knight b5, there's queen d8. So nothing else would directly qualify, right? Again, I'm going to see, I think most of you, a lot of you picked mainly between knight b5 and queen d8. I got some bishop a3 as well, right? You can use the zoom to raise your hand if you pick knight to b5. I think there are lots of good moves in this position. By the way, there's just not one solution. I think there could be multiple solutions. So let's see. Austin, Angela, Eric, very nice. I know a lot more did. Timothy, Ryo, Merrick. Anyone else? Who else played knight to b5? Sir Wagner. Merrick. Okay. I just want to see what you expect your opponent to do after this, right? So all of you who picked knight to b5, right? I want you to tell me what is the real move that you expect black to do. So this is the place where we tend to make mistakes. We see lots of good possibilities and we think, oh, we're winning here, we're winning there. But we don't stop and say, if I was playing black here, if knight b5 was actually played, what's the move? What is that move that I will play here? Let's ask someone who raised their hand. If you want to speak, type it in chat. I would like to hear what you think. Okay. Ryo wants to say something. Go.
Okay, so my variation was with knight b5. So the start's obviously queen d knight c7. The problem is he would really want to play knight e8 here, but he can't for two reasons. Bishop a3 when you exchange, and the more obviously just take the queen.
Okay.
Okay. So
I think I would take the queen instead of the exchange, just letting you know.
Of course, I was just pointing out you initiate too. Okay,
but the question precisely, Ryo, so what is the move that you would play if you were playing black after knight b5?
So I originally wanted to play c6.
Okay.
Because queen e7 was my other option, but the problem with c6 is I have a feeling knight d6. I was originally thinking queen d, rook d, knight c7, rook b, bishop e5. Okay. But I felt like, say, maybe not knight d7, but like knight h5. My bishop will be forced to trade, and my knight will get trapped next move with rook d7.
Okay, so you don't like that position.
The knight will get trapped, even if it does not get trapped by Midoriya, it's not going to be good there anyways.
So I think some of you have talked about this. Alexander Wang, Sefer, and I think someone else also mentioned this. So let's clarify this. I'm going to say that I agree with Ryo. If I reach this particular position, I think you reached it in multiple ways, some of you. Okay, I'm happy as white, but I'm not really like super happy because I would say I'm a little scared too, right? I don't see how black will take the knight yet, but I think black clearly can attack the knight. I mean, there's a simple plan. First of all, I think the first move I would think is either knight d7 or knight g4 to make sure the bishop is gone. Now the bishop is getting traded by force. So you'll have to probably play something like bishop takes g7, king takes g7. And now, okay, white's up a pawn, but I'm not super thrilled to be in this position, right? So knight h5 is winning immediately. I'm not so sure. Is knight h5 winning? Why? What's the difference? It's the same. Yeah. Knight h5, bishop g7, it's pretty much same. The only difference is between the knight on g4 and knight on... okay, even if you take with the knight, I think it's still the same, yeah? Whether the knight's on g4 or king's on g7. The question is, how will you trap the knight? It's there. Oh, there is no knight e8. You want to play rook here, but I will play rook d1, yeah? I'll play rook d1 in this position. So, yeah, you can play bishop d7, and if I simply double up, and when you take the bishop, maybe I don't have bishop over there. I mean, I think black, you're right. I mean, I'm definitely thinking that this is very dangerous and probably going to lose it. So let's go back. So I would not be happy with this variation, just letting you know, because some of you did the same the other way around too. You played queen takes d8. I think this is even more of a committal move if you play this now, because after c6, you have no options. You have to go knight c7 or you have to come back. And I think nothing really, maybe there is some rook d1 still here too. Is there rook d1? Yeah, possibly rook d1, but bishop d7 is probably played, and knight d6 is still possible. Yeah, okay, fair enough. There is still rook d1 here with the idea of knight d6. So it might not be that bad yet, yeah? Okay, so let's go back. But no one actually suggested this particular sequence here with the knight on c6 to rook d1. Well, let me go back.
Okay, can I continue?
You wanted to talk about knight d6, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I just feel like the knight is strong. Like in the future, like if I'm forced to, I will take on c8, but I would not want to really, because I mean the bishop pair doesn't do much even. I mean the problem is, sorry, the problem is we have bishop f3 coming, and then c5 even, so like it's hard to dislodge the knight. And the other thing is that e5 hangs right now.
Okay,
And
so
that's a
e5.
really good one.
So a few moves that I'm thinking is I can try knight d7. I have to be very careful about this, but I think I will have f5, so I won't lose material. It's probably still very passive for me. I can try playing queen c7 after bishop takes e5, rook d8. I don't know if it's actually possible. Maybe it is actually possible because if you move the knight, I could actually, if I take your bishop, I think
c5. c5.
c5 is also possible, but maybe you can simply move the knight. You can play knight takes f7 or something.
No, I mean queen c7, bishop e5, rook d8, c5.
That's what I'm saying. You don't even need to play c5 there. Maybe what if you simply move the knight? Because if you take the rook, I take the rook. Take the queen, take the queen.
Yeah, e4, yeah.
Yeah, well, knight, yeah, okay. But anyways, I think c5 is also possible. Knight f7 is being suggested, knight e8 is being suggested. Fair enough. So
Okay.
maybe I think queen e7 looks like one possible move, and knight d7 looks like one possible move.
Yeah,
queen e7, I should be worried about this move, yeah?
Yeah, that's what I wanted then.
Yeah, so maybe I think that leaves me with knight d7 as my main move.
I mean, but this is not threatening to dislodge my knight at all. At the very least, I can play bishop a3 and then c5, or even queen c2, c5. You're not going to
bishop on a3 is good enough. Maybe not c5, right?
Yeah,
possibly. Yeah, I agree. Your position looks good, right? The main question is, are you happy with this? Yeah.
Yeah, that's just it.
Okay, so you're happy with this, right?
Yeah, there's another line with queen e7.
Well, queen e7, bishop a3 is also something we talked about, yeah? So fair enough. Thank you, Roy. So now, I guess, how many of you chose queen takes d8? You can raise your hand now. And I want to see if there is any specific follow-up that we can talk about. Okay, Aryan says he had that idea. I know Tori, Nane, Merrick. Wait, Merrick, I think you did the other one, right? So your hand is still probably up. Like first bishop a3 though. So Aryan is saying he wants to do bishop a3 first. I know some of you played bishop a3 first. Okay, Alexander Wang wants to do that. All right, anyone wants to tell me what exactly you were calculating for queen d8? Aradhya, you talked about f4 too, but like I said, you have to eliminate some of those moves faster than this, yeah? Okay, anyone who wants to speak, you can type it in chat. I want to hear what exactly is the follow-up with queen takes d8. No one wants to go with it now? Okay, Aradhya, queen takes d8, rook takes d8, rook d1, yeah? And yes, no, you can go. By the way, I keep forgetting exactly how to pronounce your name. Is it Nune? Oh, you said you cannot talk. I thought you said you can talk. Okay, no problem, no problem. Aradhya, go on. You can. I will find you. Where are you? Okay, go on.
Yeah. Like I calculated this briefly, and I thought after rook take d8, we can go like rook d1.
Which rook are you going? It doesn't matter.
Probably rook a1.
Okay.
And then he's probably gonna go like bishop e6, and I thought we can go like e4. I thought then like.
Am I not dropping a pawn?
Oh yeah. Wait.
Right there,
so
yeah?
I guess he'll go c6 then bishop e6.
Well, c6. I don't have the time. You're challenging the rook already.
Oh wait. Oh yeah.
So the question is, I think you kind of answered my question. I was going to say, what would you play here as black? You don't know yet. Yeah?
Yeah, probably he's gonna go. Yeah, actually, that's a tough question.
It looks pretty bad. By the way, Lyndon is suggesting knight to d7. I think this looks also pretty bad. What do you think white can play here after knight to d7? What should we play here, guys? I think the simple doubling up is also possible, but I want to know if there is anything more concrete that I can create here. Let's see, knight d5, knight d7 takes, and bishop h3 is possible, Lyndon, but I think in the end I'll play f5. Wait, chess base is, of course, the craziest thing about chess base is it brings the variation points somewhere in the most random places that I cannot find, and it'll not let me make moves. Okay, I found it. And we will say, wait, new main line. Okay, yeah. Sorry. Can I say something quick? Yes, sure, you can. Go on.
Yeah, so basically, I think it's knight b5 because we just have a better position after that. If he goes c6, we're gonna go knight c7. Then if rook b8, we double up our rooks.
But aren't you doing the same thing, Nuna? You're putting a knight on c7. Are you not worried?
Well, yeah, I can't see why, but I mean, even after that, I feel like I just don't see a way that black can do anything much here.
Okay, so you want to do this and then double up, yeah?
Oh yeah. So if rook d2, for example, I don't know what move they can do.
A very good point, because I don't see how I'm going to attack the knight, and if I let you double up, that's a problem. Maybe b6. Oh no, b6, bishop takes c6 hangs.
Yeah.
Alice was suggesting that too, but problem is c6 hangs Alice, so I cannot do that.
That's the thing.
This is quite interesting. What do we do? How do we really attack? But here's the thing.
Maybe we can go e4.
I could try e4. I thought about it, but here's the thing. You're not really going to do much with rook d1 yet. There's no real damage yet. Because if you go bishop h3, I can still play f5, but that's when you'll probably damage with knight e6. Okay.
Exactly.
So you want to play rook d3, and then when you play rook d1, when you play bishop h3, that's when it becomes a problem for me, right?
Yeah. I mean, maybe if bishop a3, maybe they can try bishop f8 to prevent it somehow.
At which point?
Instead of e4, bishop f8 to prevent
Then maybe simply okay. Chess playing hide and seek with me again. Give me a second. I will find it. Okay. Clearly I can. Okay, there it is. Okay, so you want to play bishop f8?
Yeah. And then bishop b4.
Bishop b4.
After that. I just don't see a way how they can get my knight. That's the thing. Because
by the way, they're pointing out that even bishop e5 is hanging after bishop f8. So fair enough. I like your idea. So to put the knight on c7, yeah? So I think knight. I mean, I also think just you can double up directly too. I mean, just go rook d2 and rook d1. But yeah, definitely why not play knight on c7 and do it, as long as black doesn't have any clear way to untap. Yeah. Okay, thank you. So, okay, fair enough. This is very much possible, but I think there is one defensive move, but nobody actually typed it in chat. And I did not see a single variation here with black suggesting this move. Can we see what black would actually try to play here? I think black's position is extremely dangerous, and if I don't play some right moves, I'm really going to lose instantly, right? even if I lose a pawn and let's say get some activity, that's still possible. But if I just don't do anything, I just lose a pawn or something, I'm just going to be in a lost endgame. Timothy, you're right. I like your move. Let's see if anyone else can get it. Santosh, I think rook e8 runs into knight b5. I think you're going to be, again, immediately lost. If you touch the bishop on c8, you instantly lose the pawn on b7 and again lost. Lyndon, rook f8 runs into bishop a3 and looks like, again, we're instantly lost. So all of these moves seem to lose quite straightforward. Now, we saw knight to d7, which looked reasonable. Alice, rook d4 is going to run into knight b5 again. I don't see how I'm doing anything because then you'll be forced to take, and it looks like, again, it's very, very much lost. Aradhya, rook takes and c6, then you're letting me go rook to d8 right away. Yep, Zoe and Timothy have given this. Rook to d7 is possibly the only move that black can actually play to, I don't know, to some extent. I don't know. I mean, like at least one move where you instantly don't feel like black is lost. Probably, again, multiple ways to gain advantage again, but this move should have been, you should have spotted this move. I think not many of you spotted this. This is the first small issue you might have. So in your calculation, when you're looking at something and you feel like, okay, this is absolutely lost, what will my opponent play? There are two things that might happen. One is, yes, your opponent might be completely lost. It might be the truth. Or your opponent might have a resource and you have not seen it. And this is very important because if your opponent is playing the moves confidently, then you definitely need to see it, right? Black needs to play c6. You're right, Timothy. I think c6 is absolutely a forcing thing. By the way, this was a blitz game that I was playing, so I didn't see rook d7. I'm going to be honest with you. But I'll also tell you what exactly I played. There are two very clear ways to gain advantage here. I chose one of them. There are two options too. By the way, there's one more move we have not talked about, bishop a3. How many of you played bishop to a3? Raise your hand. Okay, who wants to speak? Type it in chat. I want to know why. Okay, Austin Tang, let's go.
I wanted to play bishop a3 and then queen takes d8 because, like in many of the variations after knight c7, you could play bishop e7 just trapping the rook.
Very nice. That's a very reasonable point. If you go knight b5, knight c7, bishop e7 will trap the rook, particularly if black plays moves like knight d7, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Thank you. Anyone else? Any other reasons? Lyndon, does it mean you want to speak or are you agreeing with Austin? Want to speak. Let's find you. Okay, let's go.
Okay, after bishop a3, rook e8, my move is knight b5. And the point is it's really hard for black to play. Like if he goes c6, I go knight d6 and instantly win material. Because if the rook goes to e6, I have bishop h3 and take c8. Otherwise, I discovery by taking on c8 anyway.
Fair enough. There is one more I see though. What do you expect black to do?
Knight d7.
Fair enough. What happens after knight d7?
I play c5 and he goes a6 and I just go knight c3. And the point is if he goes c6, I'm coming to e4. Otherwise, I play c6 myself.
Okay. So, okay, let me play this out, right? So bishop a3, rook e8, knight b5, knight d7. You started with c5, okay? So obviously if I play c6, you're going to go knight d6. Or if not, you want to play c6, yeah? So, okay, let's say I play a6.
I just go knight c3.
Knight c3. Can I try e4? I could certainly try e4.
I don't know if exchange sacrificing is good here.
Possible. You could sacrifice the exchange, but it's not so clear, yeah? So knight e4, because f6 is guarded, so bishop takes a1, queen takes a1. Let's say I play something like f5. You cannot go to f6 or g5. You'll have to come back, and I might.
What if I go g5 anyway, and then I play bishop d5? Is that a possibility?
That's a very good idea because you're getting queen h8.
Or I could just do.
You also get c6.
Yeah, c6.
That should be pretty crushing. So you have knight g5. So f5 looks over ambitious. I cannot play that.
Yeah. Otherwise, I go rook d1.
Okay, so I do agree. Okay, let's say I don't play e4. Let's think about this position here a little bit. So c6 is your main threat, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So let's say I allow your knight to go to d6. So I play c6.
Yeah, and I go knight e4.
Knight e4. I play something like queen c7. You
Then
jump
go-
in on d6.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, rook e7. So, okay, I'm pretty sure you're happy with your position, yes?
Yes.
But the question again comes back to the same thing of how happy, right? Is this good enough from what you got, or do you think you would have expected more?
I mean, I like putting my queen on d2, putting a rook on a1, and maybe bishop h3 and taking on c8.
By the way, Timothy is suggesting c6 doesn't look so good. Why not knight f6? Oh, fair enough. This looks like a reasonable move, yes. Why did I play c6? Fair enough. Because knight e4 and knight d6 was conceding too much. Okay, I guess I will you'll probably move the queen, yeah?
Yeah.
Trading at this point. Actually, you can trade and play rook d1 like the last time too. Try to take this one.
Uh-huh.
We might do this, and then play something like rook d1. Again, if I move the bishop, b7 still hangs. I mean, you're still creating problems for me. So I'll have to play rook e8, correct? Again, your position is good. But coming back to the same question, are you happy enough? Have you caused enough damage, right? That's typically what we are trying to find out from this. So, okay, this is pretty interesting. Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. Let's go back. So the main point is this rook d7, yeah? Bishop a3, rook e8. And I think some of you wanted to play queen d8 now, right? Did anyone want to play queen d8 now? Okay, Nune wants to play queen to d8 now. I know someone else. Was it Aryan or Aradhya? One of you are also typed in, right? Austin Tang wants to play queen to d8. And I guess, yeah, someone else also, I guess, mentioned knight b5, knight c7 with the idea of bishop e7, queen trap, right? I mean, sorry, rook trap. So, by the way, this is what I played in the game. I played bishop a3, and after rook e8, queen takes, rook takes, and I played rook d1. And the main reason why this works stronger than the other situation is because my bishop on a3 is actually well placed, right? Let's try this very quickly. Let's say you played this queen d8, which a lot of you suggested. By the way, this is not a wrong move, guys. By the way, if you played one of these three moves, I would not consider this wrong, right? But if you didn't see rook d7, you should probably think about that a little bit. Or also, if you feel like you didn't see some defensive resources, this is typically how you lose an advantage, right? In a game, based on all the years of my experience, this is exactly how I've lost advantage. Because I would think that I have great resource and my position is great, and I would miss one move, right? So that precision is what is really, really important, particularly in a position like this where you go for the kill, right? You miss one move in your calculation, that turns out to be a defensive resource, and basically everything that you're trying to do goes away and becomes equal, right? By the way, what should white play here? If you played this variation, you can type it in chat. What can you actually do? How will you try to maximize your advantage? Think about it very carefully, because I don't want you to just casually suggest a move. I want you to think about, how about this? Anyone who types in a move for white also has to type in a move for black. You have to type in two. Let's do it together. So whatever move you're typing it for white, you have to type a response for black. Austin, you picked up the wrong response. If rook takes d7, I have to take with the... you did write knight takes d7. Okay, fair enough. I thought you read bishop takes d7. If bishop takes d7, I will lose the pawn, Brian. So after rook takes d7, knight takes d7 is the only move. Timothy wants take backs. Evan, you gave me an illegal move. I didn't see it. Where is it? Let's look at your variation. Okay, I see what you meant. You need to work with your notation a little bit. That's okay. Wait, how are you playing rook takes d7, Ryo? Don't I still have a bishop on c8 in your variation? Nune has given me a variation where you up a pawn. Where is your variation, Nune? Okay, let me see. So, Angela, I think you have given me a variation that's a little too convenient. You have to find the best move for your opponent. And Nune, I'm not so sure about your variation. Knight takes c6, pawn takes c6. I think you're forgetting that your rook is not on d1 yet. Yeah, correct, Braden. Same problem. I think you're forgetting that your rook is not on d1 yet. I have to say, a lot of you are giving me good moves, but there is really a killer move that no one is talking about. I think that's again the deal. It's quite simple, actually, if you think about it. But I didn't find it directly. I looked at the computer, and when the computer told me there's a move that's glaringly winning, Ryo, that's right. With your exclamation points. Okay, Sefer, rook takes, knight takes 95, c6. Okay, that looks nice, but in the end, your bishop h3 will be met with f5. All right, guys, so time is up. So I'll tell you what, right? The problem with the most obvious variation, which a lot of you went with, was basically rook takes d7, and if bishop takes d7, I win the pawn. You did this, and you played knight d5. And again, c6 is probably only more. I can play c5 as well, but c5, then you will play check and take the bishop, and b7 will hang. So c6 looks like the most logical move, knight e7 check. And then here you simply forgot that I can play king f8. Some of you are playing king h8. If you play king h8, I think after rook d1, black can resign. So you don't have to calculate any further. Bishop h3 is really not required. And I think this knight takes c6 is also not required because rook is not on d1. Pawn takes, bishop takes, rook b8, and you're not winning the knight yet. So totally unnecessary. But the problem is, of course, I'll play king f8. And now if you try any bishop a3, I'll play king e8. Again, the same thing. Whatever you do, I can defend it. Oh, wait, sorry. You cannot play that move first. I'll take your knight. You, of course, have to take this maybe first. And then play rook here. And if I play this and this, I still also have king e8 or f5. So looks like from a completely winning position, it just went on to become somewhat maybe pair of bishops, and you're already finding it difficult to explain what your advantage is. No, that's right. The correct move or the simple winning move is knight a4. It's a double attack here. e5 is under attack and knight c5 is under. e5 knight c5 are two threats. And black cannot defend both. You will simply win a pawn, that's it. So much, much simpler move, but if you don't play this, you are going to end up playing this game forever, yeah? Anyways, when you get one chance in a game like this, you have to finish it off. That's the whole theme that I wanted to talk about, right? You do not want to let your opponent escape. Usually when I get a position like this is where I will spend time to think about it, right? Because in a position like this, you don't need to worry about time advantage because you know that if you find the move, you'll beat your opponent over the board. You don't need, to draw further mistakes from your opponent. I would say positions where time advantage matters a lot is if the position is about equal and you're kind of pushing and you need to get your opponent to make a mistake. But when you feel like you're already winning, you should just make sure you find the best move and finish it off. Knight a4, c6, bishop d5. So here's the thing. Of course, black can defend this, but the point is black lost a pawn for like nothing, right? So it's not like black found some compensation to give that pawn. So now I have to be worried about. It's just that black's down a pawn for really nothing. Well, he got his pieces out, but it's not really active, right? I mean, it's not really creating problems for me. If he's creating problems for me, then I would say I don't want to take the pawn. But here, he's not really creating any problems for me. I mean, like he can ring his pieces out, but he's simply down a pawn. Even if I don't know if I should give up my bishop or anything. I don't need to, but like takes. I don't know, maybe bishop g4. Maybe I can play f3 also. Yeah, I don't think this bishop has good squares because bishop e6 runs into knight c5 and bishop f5 runs into e4. I mean, like, I don't even think he got his pieces out. So it's just like a free pawn, yeah? Knight is on a4, not on c7, says Timothy. That's a good point. But I found the same thing on the other way, yeah? So I found bishop a3 to be very useful. So I played bishop a3 here, takes, and then now I played rook d1. And after rook d7, now your idea is much easier to do. Oh, Zoe is still in the waiting room. Okay. Austin, I got it in. Okay, so idea of rook takes d7, knight takes d7, and I played knight to d5. So I was playing against Grandmaster Zapata in a blitz game in North Carolina, in Charlotte. This was like probably a couple of weeks ago. The Carolinas Classic. I don't know if anyone in this room played in that, but it's a pretty good tournament. And so now I just win a pawn. James says he did. Okay, nice. Oh, God, became an expert playing it. Good job. Congrats, James. Very nice, very nice. Charlotte runs a pretty nice tournament. So I played knight d5 here, and then he had to give up a pawn. So I really don't think there's nothing much. He had to play c5. And now just knight check, and then just takes, and bishop takes b7. Again, the point is I pick up a pawn, plus I keep my initiative. Initiative in the sense I keep my double bishop advantages too. So I think when you compare this with what we got in some positions where some of you got your knight to d6 or got some extra pressure, I think this is better. You'll almost likely agree right now, yeah? So, okay, very good. I guess, as always, I plan 2 or 3 positions, but one position takes so much time. Let's try one more. I want to do at least one more. Let's pause this. Austin May wants to go until much later. The only problem is I have another class scheduled after this one, so unfortunately I can't go too far. Okay, let's do this one. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at this position, everyone. Before we do any calculation or anything, let's talk about why white might be better. I mean, I'm hoping I didn't have to make that as a guess. I'm hoping white is better. Is quite straightforward. Okay, Timothy has one word: pieces. Black bishop bad, white bishop good. Aradhya, fair enough. Black bishop on b7 needs therapy. Okay. Black bishop is not doing good. But keep in mind that the bishop on b7 is only temporarily bad because the pawns are not fixed. So, Braden, that's right. Black's pieces are passive. Ryo, I don't think you need to do any crazy rook sacrifices. Okay, white to play. Let's start thinking. I think you've explained basics. Okay, white's problem is a pawn structure. I have bad pawns, okay. But pieces are much better. Black's bishop on b7 is struggling a lot. And I know c5 is like the only idea to get anything going, but it's not easy to achieve c5 while there could be problems along the diagonal. Having said that, I have to say Black's plan might be, if it's Black's turn, to play c5. Okay, Ryo saying he wants c5 and d takes c5 to happen. That'll be nice. You can trap the queen too at some point maybe, but I think c5 will be met with queen c5, of course. Okay, let's think a little bit. I see some ideas. As always, you can type in your ideas. But at some point, I want you to make a final decision on what exactly you will play. By the way, again, what you can get out of this position, no one can tell, yeah? Maybe you will get like last position. The last position we saw, you won a pawn and you had a clearly better, like probably some kind of a plus-minus position. You might get a plus-minus, you might not get a plus-minus. It's the question of what makes you happy in this position. Braden, that's a good point. So Tori, your move would definitely stop Black from playing c5, agreed. Lyndon, yes, that's a forcing sequence. You can continue to calculate there. It's still not over though. Raya, white. You played that move for that reason. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, Austin May, I think after your move, definitely Black will not play c5. Nune, I think a good idea. Your move's also pretty good. So those who, I feel like there are like two main moves going on here. Aradhya, fair enough. I'm looking at two main moves coming in chat. I want you to type in what black's main response should be for that. I mean, what is critical? Good ideas to make those move, but what is the response from black? What's the critical response? Alice, so just tell me, what will black play after your first move, according to you, the best move? Then that's a good variation, but you have to decide, of course, yeah? Okay, James, fair enough. What happens after that move? So you've given me a move for black after your move. So Timothy, I think black is lost in the variation you gave me, right? So black probably cannot play that. Okay, James, fair enough. All right, guys, so I think we have spent some time. Let's talk about what moves we have heard. So I've heard basically bishop to e4 and queen to c2 and pawn to c5. Again, I like how we have zoned to some very important moves. There's nothing wrong with that, yeah? I like as soon as we see all the important moves. I'm going to start with queen c2. So those who said queen c2, raise your hand. Okay, what do you expect black to play after queen c2? Sarvagna, are you suggesting a move after queen c2, Sarvagna? Why, you don't like your move at this point? So clearly, I think the first move that comes to my mind is definitely queen c5. So I don't know why you said that and took it back. Okay, let's say I play queen to c5 for black. What happens now? Those who gave me queen c2. The thing is, you found out that c5 is not possible, which is fair. If I play c5, you go rook b1, and then I'm just losing instantly. So I cannot play that. And then you were suggesting some rook b8 or other moves. I think queen to c5 should be one of the most logical ones, right? I want to play queen c5. So let's say you play rook b1, I want to go bishop a6. So now my question is, what is white doing? How is white proceeding? You can kind of tell that you're not in the right place, right? You're not in the best situation. And, oh, you mean to say this is bad for white, right, James? Because you're saying this is bad for black. I think you're meaning to say that this is bad for white. So Austin May, that's correct. The c4 pawn is kind of dying. I think white can still be okay because c6 is quite weak as well. And then white should be okay, though. I would really not put white in such a bad situation. But yes, I think white is in dangerous waters right now. If the initiative fades, the pawn structure can become a real pain, particularly the c4 and the a3 pawn that are pawns hanging right now. So basically, for this reason, you can eliminate queen c2, right? Again, it's not convincing enough. You see queen c5, rook b1, bishop a6, and you're like, you don't feel that it's great. Why am I doing this? My position is supposed to give me better than this. Now, bishop e4 and c5 are both very interesting, right? So bishop e4, actually in the game, I played c5. So I'll start with that. I found c5 to be the most fascinating in the game. But I think bishop e4 and c5 are both equally good in this position. By the way, none of them give you decisive advantage. This is just a slight advantage position for white. It's a question of taking the game into the most pleasant situation. So I'll tell you what c5 variation leads to. By the way, bishop e4, the idea is, of course, rook b1. I think if I play queen c5, you still go rook b1, and bishop here, you take the pawn. Or maybe even you can play this. Oh yeah, c4 is hanging. So maybe take the pawn first, and then after rook b8, what can we do? Maybe bishop b5. Maybe something like this. But no. I don't like this because of bishop b7. So I'm quickly beginning to think that I've misplaced my bishop a little bit. Yeah. c6 is instantly winning. Oh, of course, yeah. Rook to b1 is check. So I would have switched the rooks. Oh, I can switch the rooks. Oh, hold on, I can. So let's do this, guys. So the reason why I didn't play c6 is because this is what I had calculated in my mind. Obviously, now c6 will lose to bishop takes a6. Let's assume this is a position. I think this looks like there could be some kind of attack. Thank you. So bishop d7, rook d8, bishop h3 with the idea of bishop. Okay, yeah. I mean, but you have to unnecessarily reroute your bishop and everything. I mean, like it's possible, but not best. I think some of you are suggesting queen c6, which is probably better. Yeah. Even though you will lose a pawn on c4, but maybe better. Queen takes, bishop takes, and rook b8. But nothing substantial, I think, at this point. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, this is similar to the game, I have to say. It's just that the c4 pawn is going to fall. It's not like the c4 pawn is going to add any value. I also think, I don't know if this would add better value because you stop rook b8 and now queen c6 is a bigger threat. But maybe rook a7 will still suffice. So maybe still bishop takes c4. And after queen takes, bishop takes, I might be able to just play rook a7. I know my rook is like not in great position, so yeah, rook b7. I think you continue to play in a good position. So yeah, that's the reason bishop e4 is still quite annoying for black. So if you play bishop e4, fair enough. I think you probably played the best, one of the best moves. So I'll show you what happened in the game. c5 is also a very strong move. After queen takes, rook b1 or rook b2, I think both are possible. And after bishop a6, I traded. So I went into this endgame. And after rook b8, rook here takes. Well, actually, my opponent decided to play rook b6. Rook takes b2, rook takes b2 is probably a better move. Rook b6 is a much, much worse endgame. I think she kind of misjudged the endgame when she played rook b6. But this is the position I was calculating. Problem for black is the rook is in such a bad place and the bishop is in such a bad place. The only open file is dominated by the rook on b2. So this is not actually cherry blossom. This I played against Martha Samadashvili, I think. And yes, this was in the US Amateur East. She had a pretty decent position until I think here she could still find some kind of a defense. I think the computer defends with rook d8, which is kind of, and it says it's equal. And I don't think I can, if I play this as black, I'll probably suffer quite a bit and lose the game. It's not easy. So the point is, this endgame is just quite annoying. It's not a plus minus kind of position, but it's just very, very difficult for black to play. And I was happy to reach this, right? So that's again the point I want to make to all of you. You want to reach positions that your intuition tells you is good enough. From the starting point to this point, is it good enough, right? And from what I had, I was happy. And I went on to convert this endgame because there was a quick mistake. Rook b6 was actually a bigger mistake because this endgame is much worse. White king walks to d4 straight away and black can do nothing. And white's rook and bishop are so strong, it's almost impossible for black rook to get in. So the a5 pawn is pretty much going to fall, and that's that. So basically, I brought my king in, and then after this, I just picked up that pawn eventually with rook a6. So she tried to create some counterplay, but it was just not enough. So once this happened, it was quite easy. So again, these are subtle things that happen in the game, but sometimes we don't pay too much attention to it. So that's the reason I want to bring it to the focus today, right? You have a nice position. What kind of decision will you make to get to what point? So one of the main things I want all of you to take from today's lesson is that you have to be a little precise with what you expect your opponent to do. If your opponent is in a desperate situation, try to find a move for them, because either they are lost or they're going to find a resource that you didn't find. Only one of the two things are going to happen. You don't want the second thing to happen, of course. You just want to win the game. And if there's a resource, you want to find it. All right, guys, that's, I think, a good place for us to wrap it up. Hopefully next time you get a slight advantage position, you're all going to convert it 100%. All right, you're welcome, James. Thank you, everyone.